Hi, friends. Thank you so much for your patience. By the time I explain to you what I did wrong for why we had to start late, it'll be, another 10 minutes. So just thank you so much for your patience. It's worth it. Okay. This is the interview that I've been waiting for such a long time because this, I don't know. I want to do a formal introduction of Queen, but I also just want to tell you that Queen is I met Queen in Lake Chapala walking out of a restaurant. She just hollered at
So
me
correct.
from the street. This is Queen. This interview right here is a living example of why it's so wonderful being a Black woman traveler and being a
Hmm.
Black woman expat because of the community. So we're going to talk all about it. I'm going to introduce you formally to Queen Michelle. Queen Michelle is a Detroit native. She's an author of a book called Considerations: A Guide to Moving Abroad. So she's
Hmm.
the perfect person to talk to us today about her new life in Mexico. Welcome, Queen.
Thank you so much for having me, Steph.
I'm so glad to talk to you. Hi, everybody in the chat. Joan's already in the chat.
Jumps in the chat. Hey,
Hi,
Joan.
Sheeta. Talking Media's here. Nora, KB. Hi, friends. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Um, so Queen, like I said, Queen reached out to me. Queen Joan, who's in the chat, Nana, who we'll talk about. They reached out to me as a Black woman traveling in Mexico and took me into their community. So, Queen, do you want to tell it? So, I think what we'd like to start with, Queen has a story to tell. I think what we probably want to start with is just how you started. Your book is called Considerations. How did you start considering your move to Mexico?
That's an excellent question. That's where we will start because the book is entitled Considerations: A Guide for Moving Abroad. So that question, what did you start considering? Perfect question. And this is where I was. I was 52 years old. And I had taught elementary in Detroit, where I was born and raised. I lived 11 years in Las Vegas, and I taught there. And I lived 4 years in Atlanta, where I'm at now, right now, actually hanging out with my kids. Tomorrow's my son's birthday. He's
Ah.
30 tomorrow. So I'm in the ATL. We get ready to turn up this weekend. But so I spent 4 years here, but um, the first 2 years, I was teaching as well here in Atlanta. So 27 years in total across the country. And 52 years old, I wanted to do 30 and out.
Uh huh.
I was going to do 30 years. I'll be 55. I'll retire. But I'm telling you, Stephanie, those last 3 years seem like an eternity.
Mm.
Making it from that 27th year to the 30th year. It's kind of like, I don't know, when you're done, you're done. It's a wrap and there's really nothing else you can do. So I retired. I retired at 52, 27 years. That first year, man, for the first time, I was out and about and doing things and working to supplement because I realized very quickly that I was going to need to supplement
Mm-hmm.
my pension.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, no problem. I'm in ATL. I was an Uber driver. I did Lyft. I did Postmates. I did secret shopping. I did merchandising. I worked for a transportation company that serviced the railroad. So I was taking engineers and conductors to and from their trains. Man, I was having a ball that first year, maybe first year and a half. Just my schedule, doing my thing, supplementing my pension. And then it hit me.
Mm.
Hey, I'm going to always have to do this to supplement. My pension covered my rent. That's it. I would always have to work until I couldn't work anymore, just probably due to age or whatever. And then I would live substandardly
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't working. I didn't want to be 70 years old saying, welcome to Walmart. You see them all over the place. You see them at Walmart and airports and restaurants and, Ubering, and you figure, hey, they're retired. They're just out there. No, they're out there, not because they want to be 90% of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're out because they have to be. The system is set up in such a way that you will always have to work.
Yeah.
Here's the kicker. You'll work, but then you're only working to pay bills.
Yes.
See, there's no weekend concerts, there's no movies, there's no travel, there's no fine dining. You're working to pay your bills. And with that, and I believe the universe is perfect, I came across an article in International Living, the 10 top places to retire. And I read that article cover to cover, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
And I started investigating those places. And if I recall, of course, Mexico was on there, but also there was Belize and Costa Rica and Ecuador and Nicaragua and Honduras and Thailand and Colombia,
Right. The
Panama.
usual suspects. Yeah. Panama.
Were those top 10 places to retire. And I did extensive research. I mean, extensive. I took notes. I had files. I went in. The reason why I chose Lake Chapala, and you may hear people say, "Oh, that's a old, just a bunch of old white expats there, But here's the deal: they have what I consider a safety net for expats. Here I am, moving out of the country. So the safety net that they had within this large expat community in Lake Chapala was enticing.
Yeah.
Because as I looked at Belize and I looked at Costa Rica, it was nothing really that I felt that I can grab onto to help support this move.
Okay.
There's a place in Lake Chapala called Lake Chapala Society, and it lays out a red carpet for you. It's an expat hub in the village of Ajijic, in Lake Chapala. And a lot of people say, Lake Chapala, what's Lake Chapala? And I always give them this. Mexico has 32 states.
Yes.
I live in the state of Jalisco, which it starts with a J, but it's pronounced with an H, Mexico, right? And Jalisco houses the largest lake in the country of Mexico. And around that lake, particularly the north shore of that lake, are towns and villages that live amongst that area, that north shore. And I happen to live in one of those towns called San Antonio, Tayacapan, if I'm pronouncing that right. We always just say San Antonio.
Yeah.
But Ajijic is to my right, and Chapala, which is I guess you can say it's like the government town in a sense, the municipal of Chapala. And I'm nestled in between the middle. Ajijic is, I would say, maybe 90% expats.
Yeah.
From America, from Canada, who have retired and found their way there too, And it's beautiful because on that North Shore you have the Mexican community that caters to, for the most part, expats along this North Shore. So there's restaurants and art and music and so many things. It's very inclusive of those who are creators and free thinkers. And they say, yeah, it's populated very much, with Caucasians, but I've gone there. I've been there 2.5 years now. I've lived there 2.5 years, and I found that pocket that, we're peppered all over the world. Actually, we're peppered for the most part, but I found the rest of those peppers in a sense, and we formed that community of sisterhood in that sense, and we're thriving, and we're saying to more sisters and brothers, hey, y'all, it's great out here. It's expanding. It's so much more to what society has said or the system has said that you can have. That American dream is really a nightmare. The dream is out amongst the world of people, the diversity, the food, the culture, the music, everything that expands you in your human experience here.
You said that you built a community. You absolutely have. And you have a full life, not just a life that revolves around work and making money. So we have some questions in the chat specifically about Ajijic. It's hard to say, it's hard to spell, it's a mouthful, but we've been spelling the name out in the chat, everyone who lives there. Jones here, Jason Blanchard, welcome friends. So they are in Ajijic, or in the lakeside. So like Queen said, there's a lake, the north side of the lake is generally just referred to as lakeside, and it's town after town after town, and this is the town that I love to go to house sit in. She's right that it is largely American and Canadian. I think that 50%, if you look at the whole lakeside area, they said 50% of that is American and Canadian, which is not good if you're coming like on a vacation to experience Mexico, but it's wonderful if you're going to live somewhere and you want conveniences.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like Mexico, why that community? Well, number one, I'm retired.
Yeah.
This is a retirement community. Yeah. So that works perfectly for me. But there's young people. You mentioned Joan. And hey, Joan. Joan's online right now. She much younger than me, has and still working,
She's still working, that's right.
And she lived in Guadalajara. She's lived in, which is 30 minutes outside of the lakeside area.
Yes.
And she's lived in Ajijic.
Yes.
But Joan has now moved to Ensenada.
Yes,
she is. She's in Ensenada now. But you know what? It's perfect for her. And here's the thing. Everyone has to find that perfect fit, because some are married. And they have to consider. Some have children. My experience is from a single, middle-aged African-American woman who has, taken that leap, that jump of faith to get out of the country in that way.
Yeah.
My first year there, I was interviewed by there's a gentleman, and if they want to know a lot about Ajijic, I would love to tell. I'm telling your listeners this. There's a YouTube channel called Jerry Brown Travels. And Jerry and his wife, Lori, who's from Colombia, they give us the full gamut of what's going on in Ajijic. I looked at all of Jerry Brown videos just to kind of help acclimate me to, what was going on lakeside, because I had picked it as the place where I was going to move. So 4 months in, Jerry ran into one another, and I'm like, hey, I know you. I looked at all your videos. He said, I would love to interview you. I was the first and probably at this point, the only Black person that Jerry has interviewed. Okay. So he got a lot of feedback, because Black people were looking and go, oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, wow.
This is an option.
This is possible. This is happening. And I started getting a lot of questions, and I was telling that story over and over again. That first year there, I wind up writing a book. That's how Considerations, a guide for moving abroad, came about. It was so many questions, because people are inquisitive, and they're seeing that it's happening, and that it can happen. So with that's how the book came about. It's 10 chapters. Each chapter is a consideration.
Yes.
Guys, we're going to need to consider visas. We're going to need to consider finances, consider downsizing, consider health care, consider transportation, consider family and friends.
Yes.
How far out do you want to be? Where I'm located, I fly out of Guadalajara, which is 30 minutes. And it's 3.5 hours straight shot from there to Atlanta. Well, it was pre-COVID. Yeah. Now we got some other things going on.
Yeah.
But before that, it was 3.5 hours straight shot. And I wanted to be out of the country, but I didn't want to be that far away from my kids. Right. I have 2 grown kids. I have a 2-year-old grandson now, and I do want to stop back in the state maybe once or twice a year, And so that was a big thing too. Is so many things to consider. And even though I didn't have children and I wasn't working, people now have to consider, working remotely. What about children, and their husband and things and their social life. That's important for people who are not retired, but are still considering moving abroad
Can you tell
and
us
living
about
abroad.
so you told us about how you ended up on Mexico, but how did you end up on Ajijic in particular, or the Lake Chapala area? And I'm gonna yes, I did see your question, Kay. I am look right now. I'm about to drop a link. Thank you for saying that. I'm about to drop a link to Queen's book. If you give me 1 second. But Queen, how did you pick Chapala in particular? Did you visit a couple of different towns, or were you
Oh,
just it wasn't
absolutely
just
not.
Jerry?
In the book, and I think that's maybe the 10th chapter. And here's something that's kind of unique about my experience is that I never went to Mexico. I never visited Mexico before I actually landed there. And everyone's like, what? Actually, the place that I'm in now, my 1 bedroom, 1 bath condo with a fireplace and a mirror door, has a swimming pool and a laundry room. That place that I have was rented sight unseen.
Mm.
Sight unseen. I never went, but because my research was so extensive, and I spent so much. Joan told me the other day, because in the book I mentioned how it got to the point where I was on Google Streets,
Yes.
Google View, and you can go up and down the streets. I'm telling you, Steph, I was catching buses. I was walking to Walmart. I was going to different restaurants. I started putting down names of restaurants that I wanted to check out. I'd spent quite a bit of time doing just that, doing the research. But I wound up Lake Chapala area because, again, it's a very large expat community. It's a retirement expat community. It's not like Media or Colombia where you have your what do you call millennials and those young up and coming remote
digital nomads and
diverse group of people who are turning Colombia into a mecca, of sense. It's like a ATL type situation as they continue to move out of the country and work remotely and expand their, just their view of the world, and expands their kids' views as well.
Absolutely.
They have children.
Yeah, they do.
But they're moving out of the country, man, so that they can just expand. It's that's why.
But you don't. Right. So your concern was more being able to get back to the U.S. quickly and conveniently. And also Mexico, I don't know this about you. Do you have permanent residency, or are you staying on the tourist visa? Because Mexico
I have a permanent, what do they call it? Residente permanente.
Okay, good.
Yes, I'm a permanent resident of Mexico. It does not mean that I'm not a citizen of Mexico, but I am a permanent resident. I'm a citizen of the U.S. I'll always be a U.S. citizen. That me being a resident living out of the country does not affect my citizenship of the country. So yeah, but I talk about that quite a bit, how I came about that, the visa, that chapter, consider visas is important. You have temporal, you have permanent, you have tourist, you have work, you have school, visas. There's different types of visas, and all those, depending on your status and where you are, need to be researched.
I know that some people actually go to Mexico without any kind of specific visa, because when you have a U.S. passport, you can stay for 6 months, and all you need to do is cross the border and come back, and you get another 6 months.
That's true.
The reason some people don't like this to do that, the reason some people would prefer to get their permanent residency before they go, though, is because you have to be in your home country to get your permanent residency. So if you've been living in Mexico for 3 years and crossing the border, and then all of a sudden you have to come back to the U.S. for an indefinite amount of time, that can be an inconvenience. So some people get there. So I assume that you're one of those people who got your permanent residency in Mexico before.
Well, this is what happened. You start the process in the States. You get the stamp, and once you cross that border with that stamp that you have that said, I started the process, you have 30 days to start the process to complete it. You have 30 days. But once you cross that border, You have 30 days to start the process to complete it. You cannot leave the country during those 30,
Okay.
yeah, until you get everything locked up and solid again.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit. So the chat is going so fast. I appreciate y'all, but if I miss your question, ask it again. Like seriously, just ask it again. Okay. So,
Oh, so
so
funny.
Jason is telling people that rentals are easy to find here. So since you rented your apartment sight unseen,
I did.
how can you tell us a little bit about the process? You found the rental and signed all of the stuff before you came,
Okay,
or you just
this
had
is
an idea?
this is how that happened. Facebook was my best friend.
Okay.
It was where I discovered the Jerry Brown videos. It was where I tagged on to groups of those who were future expats and moving to Mexico, and those types of Facebook groups that was specific to the area that I was moving in. I found those, not those that were in different places,
Yes.
specific to my group. So I got on to Lake Chapala rentals
Okay.
by owner, and I got on to Access Lake Chapala,
Okay.
another rental, so I found my place, and I was going through them just all the time. It was,
Yes.
and it was fun. It wasn't like this was work. I was having a ball doing this, looking at different places, trying to see myself in there and not liking this and liking that, really kind of defining what I wanted for myself and the lifestyle I saw myself having when I got there. So I found the place on Lake Chapala Rentals, called her up, and I told her, I'm really interested in that place. I can't come and see it. I'm not going to be there until December. And what she did was did a video walkthrough of the apartment, of the condo for me. She did a video walk, and when she finished that, I was like, I want it. That's it. How I can Western Union, cash it. What do you need for that deposit to hold that for me? And what was so cool is that the day that I did arrive, when that day finally arrived, and I was in the taxi, I had the address to tell the taxi where to go. He knew exactly where to take me. She was waiting there for me. Okay, because all monies had been taken care of. She was waiting to hand me my keys and welcome me to Mexico.
That's wonderful. And is this the same place that you were in when I was there last
It's the
December?
same place.
So Queen's house. It's a house, it's a house.
It's a condo unit.
Okay, a condo. So it's within walking distance to all the restaurants. You could walk. Walmart is the spot, and the grocery store. You can walk to Walmart, walk to the grocery store, walk to the shopping center with the good bread, the bakery with the good bread. Yeah.
And let me tell you, when I first moved there, walking became a big part of my life, which was great because that helped. I was over 200 pounds when I first moved. I've lost 30 pounds since living, because I've taken up. When you come up out, I personally feel when you're able to come up out of the oppression of what is the system, the matrix, I like to call it, you get a chance to turn inward, and there's self-discovery, and with self-discovery comes self-love, and with self-love comes self-care. So before I knew it, I was walking. I took up hiking. I took up yoga. I took up I started meditating regularly. Those things right there just turned. It was a whole new world that opened up for me. Real retirement. What retirement is supposed to be about when you retire. Not retiring, getting a couple of more jobs, because now you don't make as much as you used to make since you've retired. Retire means retire. And I don't know, we as a people, sometimes we don't have it as fortunate as privileged ones who can retire and have that 401k and have that trust fund and have those things. for those who started off, who are marginalized and started out and continue to stay behind that 8 ball, we have to become creative.
That's right.
If we
That's
if
right.
we
And
know.
your well-being depends on it. Like you can't
Absolutely.
stay in the toxic situation and expect to be
Absolutely,
well.
Steph.
Case
Yes.
Kay, hi Kay. I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
Charmaine and Kay. Kay wants to know about short-term rentals. Charmaine wants to know if do you think you're going to eventually purchase a home, or will you keep
Excellent
renting?
questions, both of them. And I'm going to go with the latter one first because
Okay.
that's really easy to answer.
Okay.
No, I will not buy a home. There's no need for me to buy a home. I don't. For what?
Yes.
When I can rent and be free of that. I don't have a car. For me, again, remember, my state of being is that of retirement. Now I think eventually, if I get anything, it may be a car.
Okay.
It may be a car that I can see myself getting as I get older. And maybe wanting to.
Because for Americans can drive across the border no problem, but when it's time for you to register your car, that's when there's a problem.
Whole different thing. And there's a chapter in the book about that transportation.
Yeah.
And me wanting, at first I was going to take my car. I was going to attach a trailer to it, and I was going to, but as I continued to research, I saw how better it is. I'm going to live here.
Yeah.
It's better to just, if I do wind up getting a car, getting it there.
Yes.
And not trying to bring it up. But then again, different circumstances. There's a lot of my friends who brought their cars. A lot of them.
But then the registration fee is exorbitant. It's exorbitant.
Those friends are affluent for the most part.
Yeah, you have to really
Again,
want that particular car. I feel like you have to have some sort of attachment to your
something
car.
about short-term rentals. They would love to get you in there long-term, but there are expats who have been coming to this area and been doing this thing for years. So they lock in those short-term rentals. You have your snowbirds, you have an Airbnb. I don't know, I guess it'll flip and get better again. I'm not sure, but they love the long term. But they will rent, they will do short term. Absolutely. They have what we call a high season and a low season on that north side of Lake Chapala, because high season is when the snowbirds come back. They're coming back from Canada because it's cold there now, and the climate. What were the 3 reasons that I chose that area? Number 1, the climate is perfect. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2nd or 3rd best climate based on the geographic. Said that it was the 2nd or 3rd best climate in the world. And it really is. It's eternally spring.
It's eternal spring.
Besides for the rainy season, which everyone loves, So it was the climate, it was the location, being 3.5 hours away from my home base, and it was the expat community. Those things were the top 3 that reason why I chose the Lake Chapala area. Yeah,
it is eternal spring. They have like months though of rain, or
but and generally it just rains at night. Not so much during the.
It's not a wash. It's just nighttime rain.
Things been kind of crazy though. It's been raining in the mornings and the afternoons, and
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The world is crazy. Yeah, the world is crazy. All right. So like everybody's saying that, this is where I know you. This is how I know you. So you're famous. I didn't know, Queen.
Oh, shut up.
I didn't know. Athena. Hey, Athena. I think you're new. Welcome. Everybody's like, that's where I've seen you. Okay. So Jerry Brown's video, I guess, did some numbers.
It did. I hit some numbers with Jerry, man. I'm telling you, that's how the book came about. When I appeared on Jerry, after that, I couldn't keep up with the questions. I couldn't keep up. So hence, that's how I was like, look, I can put it in the book, which actually launched my writing career. So yeah.
Yes, because now you've written another book.
Yep.
So not only did it show you like a new passion, right? Moving to Mexico
Yes.
opened up a new passion, but it's changed like
Yes.
the look, what your life and your future looks like. Because you move down at 54, you have a lot of years to go. You know what I mean? Like
So
so
I know, right? So
yeah.
listen and get this. When I first started hiking, I was in my 50s. You know, they would ask how old I was. I didn't have a problem. At that time, I'm 54. They say, "Oh, you're a baby. Oh, you're a
Yes.
baby." And I was getting a little offended by that. They kept calling me a baby. But these people that I hike with, I'm telling you, they're 15 and 20 years my seniors, and they inspire me. It's like, oh, so that's how 70 gonna look.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
that's how 75 gonna look.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's one of the
So yeah.
benefits of living around old people. Because before I met you guys, I had already been to Mexico once for 6 months, and
Ah,
I used to tell people, "You can come," but all my friends down here are 80. Like because everybody down there is a super senior citizen. You know, like
yes, they
80
are.
and beyond.
Yeah.
But
But you
then
know
I
what?
I met you guys.
A lot of them are not your average
No,
uh 60, 70-year-olds,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're living a more relaxed life and a more intentional life. The
There
idea
you go.
to pick up and move away from everybody, you have to do things with intention and not just be in a groove, like in a habit. You
Hmm.
have to choose. You have chosen your life. So
Yes.
do you feel like you're living a life that would be totally different than if you were still in Georgia or still in the
Oh,
US? Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. I read in, I met up with a friend of mine here. And I tell him every time I see him, because I see him when I come to town,
uh-huh.
I tell him, I said, thank you for not cooperating, because had he cooperated, thank you, because had he cooperated,
Yeah,
I would be working I would be doing that
that's right.
and paying bills and hopefully trying to squeeze out that little this or that little that.
Hmm.
um but to have this opportunity to be so young,
Hmm.
you know and here I am now 57. I'm saying to be so young,
Hmm.
but it
Yeah.
is when you look at
When you look at other
when you
people.
see what I see, I am young,
That's right.
and to still have the wit and now the knowledge of how you can live well. uh I'm fortunate, very fortunate.
Yeah.
And people, Joan and you, who already know, y'all younger than me, y'all know. I think y'all have a right and a duty to let everybody else know this can be done.
It can be
And I
done.
know that's your passion too,
It
because you're
is.
trying to open up and show people, look, house sitting. You can house sit across the world. And Joan is constantly opening up different avenues and making connections and networking, because we're trying to say, hey, come on over here.
Hmm. Sure are. Sure are. So
Consider it.
I
Just
did a
consider it. I'm just saying.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
share. All you have to do is share the word. You know about it because of Jerry Brown. Somebody today knows about it because of you. We're just spreading the word. I
There we
um I did a video like a day in the life of a house sitter. So I did that video, and in the video I said I'm going to have dinner with a new friend named Joan who reached out to me on Facebook, and it's Joan. So, yeah, she just reached out to me. She's
Wow.
like, "Oh, I guess I posted a picture. I don't even remember the original post." And she
Okay.
was like, "Oh, I live here. Do you want to have dinner?"
That's Joan.
Yeah, that's
That is
Joan.
Joan. That's
That's
Joan
Joan.
right there.
Yes. Hi, Joan.
Yes.
We love you. Yeah. So it's wonderful because when you go somewhere, so in your life, in your regular everyday life, like I said, you're in a groove and you're in a habit groove. But when you
Hmm.
go out, you get to actually like make friends
It's
with
expansive.
uh
That's the
huh.
only word I can say for that. It's expansive in every way. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. So
it grows you.
I'd like to talk about how you felt. So I know that you were reaching out to people on Facebook and in certain communities and stuff, but I'd like to talk about
Right.
how you found friends. Can we talk about how did you find real friends, not just people on Facebook who can help you if you have a question?
Understood. Now, um, what was so cool, first of all, and I'll say this about Facebook and then reaching out that way. What was so cool, there were people who knew that I had never met, who knew was on my way.
Hmm.
And was like, when you get here, let's have lunch and things. And that's how I met some friends. But uh, the other bulk of my friends, again, those who are and that I've experienced on the North Shore of Lake Chapala, we wake up with a smile on our face and joy in our heart. And I know this to be true because that's how I wake up.
Yes.
And when I walk down the street or when I go to the store, to a restaurant, there's this smile on their face too. And I'm telling you, Steph, we kind of look at each other, with this smile and this greeting, but it's almost like, we know this secret. It's like we got a secret.
We do.
And like we're in this special because we're here and we made it out. So it's like, hey, hola, but in a sense that hola is saying it's good to see you made it out, but I say that to say they're so friendly. Mm-hmm. So I can be there's times I've sat in a restaurant, say, hey, can I join you? Sure, join me. So it's through that, it's through my Spanish classes, it's through my hiking community, it's through the people I met on Facebook, it's through the yoga group that I go through. It was the MetaMind discussion group that I used to go to. It is just this eclectic arena where you find your tribe. You find your tribe. I tell you, Nana, then the reason why I was in the passenger seat, but that day Nana was driving and she looked again. She said, "Black woman." And she pulled over, was like, "Hey, we were just so excited to see you."
If y'all weren't here when we started, I was walking out of a restaurant.
It was Cafe Negro.
Cafe Negro. I don't know what time it was, but I was eating breakfast food, and I walked out, and this car pulled up. No, I think y'all were at a red light. But
yes.
Hey, what you doing here? Who are you? How long have you been here? So y'all came over to the thing and exchanged information. I think we became Facebook friends immediately.
Yes.
Exchanged information immediately. And because I was like, oh, I'm so glad to meet y'all. I said, the only other Black person I have met down here was a Jehovah's Witness who was trying to convert me. Nobody. I didn't.
Is too.
I was like, I don't have any Black friends down here. And my other friends were old, 80, not old, but my other friends were like 80-year-old house sitting clients.
Yeah.
I was so glad to meet y'all. And then Joan, I think I met, and then I had dinner with Joan probably 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah.
And then boom, you welcomed me in. You invited me to your meetups. I came over to, and then you invited me over to Nana's house to hang out.
See how that happens?
That's how it happens.
So that's how I get down. That's how we get down.
Yes. So do you feel, so Black women treat you well in Mexico, but how do people in general treat you as a Black woman in Mexico?
Very well. Very well. And again, I can only speak to or attest to the area that I live in, the area that I moved to, and it's different than Merida, or how do you pronounce that? San Miguel, all those different states, if you will, in Mexico. I can only speak to this area, this region that I'm in, and it's extremely special for a lot of reasons. Number one, that lake is magical, mystical, and the chemicals that come up from that lake that they breathe in, I'm telling you, it's special. Then it's the mountains that I hike, and breathing in that, the mountains are mystical and magical. They have ceremonies. You have Aztecs and Mayan spiritual history and culture here. There's a vortex.
Yes,
even,
I was going to say.
So this area is very high energy. As a light worker, I believe that's probably one of the reasons why I was drawn to this area. But it's full of writers and poets and artists and painters and performers and musicians and influencers and it's full of that type of energy.
It is.
This area. And I know you feel that when you're there.
I do.
Not saying that it couldn't be in all those other places, but for me, in my lifestyle and what's going on with me, it was where I was supposed to be.
Nanette's here. Hi, Nanette. Nanette is another woman who I met, who is our friend. Friend. That's right.
Oh, and now, Stephen, let me tell you about Nanette.
Okay.
Nanette and I met on Facebook. In one of those groups, and she's like, "Oh, you're in Atlanta?" I said, "I'm in Atlanta." Oh, you planning on
Oh.
moving to Mexico? I'm planning on moving to Mexico. Oh, you're a
Oh.
teacher? Hey, I'm a teacher. The next thing that I know that happened, since Nanette was in Atlanta as well, we start a year before I moved. A year
Oh.
before he moved, we started having lunch once a month just to touch base with how we were doing with our research and
Wonderful.
what things we found out. And the first time I laid eyes back on her south of the border was over Nana's house when
Okay.
Nana had one of her salons. There
Okay.
was Nanette. Now tell me.
That's wonderful. I didn't know that. That's wonderful. You guys were featured in an article on the Sisters Letter, AARP. AARP has a
Mhm.
magazine for Black women called Sisters Letter. And I'm trying to copy and paste the link to share it with you, but
Oh,
I can't share the
that's
link.
a great article.
So I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it in the description. But if you
Okay.
just go, if you want to check it out, it's Sisters Letter AARP. When you go to Sisters Letter AARP, just Google the word retired, and you'll see the article about them. It's them. It's them. So I think you are famous. I'm acting like I didn't know you were famous, but now I remember that you are famous. Yeah. So AARP featured you guys because you have created a community. Pamela, I guess Pamela is the one you met.
Exactly. Who's another part
Mm-hmm.
who was over Nana's house.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's where I met her. So look, see how this community, we will find each other. That light is there. We will gravitate. We will find one another. We will lift one another
Yes.
up, and then we will
Yes.
bring others on,
When
you
you're
know?
trying to make a change, you have to have a community. You have
Yes.
it's I don't know what you can do alone. I don't know, but
Yeah,
it's not worth trying it alone. You have to
I
have a
totally
community
agree.
because if not, you're just going to give up. You're just going to turn around. But finding that community isn't as hard as we make it, right? It's
So true.
apparently it's
That's
just on the
so
internet.
true.
Yeah, you just get on the internet. We're here, like we're a community right now in the chat.
That's
The
right.
chat is going so fast in the chat. Everybody is sharing information, and so find a community of like-minded people. You have to do that though. You have to tell people your dream.
You got to share it.
Black women in particular are so used to not sharing that dream. Keep it to
Exactly.
yourself. Don't
And why
tell
is that,
anybody.
Steph? Why is that?
Well, we just get told that that the thing that you want is ridiculous.
Right.
You're supposed to be a worker. Just work hard.
Right.
Forget all that other stuff. Who cares about writing books that who cares about finding your passion and hiking and yoga?
You got to work.
Work
You
hard.
got to work.
Work hard.
Work hard.
Exhaust yourself.
Please.
And so we don't share the dreams,
Yeah.
but you have to share the dreams to find your community.
Yeah.
How were you at all afraid of telling people that hey, I'm moving to Mexico and I haven't even been
Listen.
there yet?
Listen, in the book, I talk about how my mother, bless her 84-year-old heart, right now living in Detroit, and my 98-year-old dad, still in Detroit. I was living in Mexico for almost a year, and she did not know. She thought that I was still living in Atlanta. And with cell phones, I mean, how do you know where someone is on a cell phone, right? So back then she was 81, 82, and she was very ill. And I didn't share this information because number one, she would not understand it. And it would be that's not what you're supposed to do. How you going to leave it would have been too much. And she was very ill. So I didn't say anything. And I told everybody, if you tell her, those who knew, she wasn't on Facebook. She didn't know. She thought Facebook was the devil. So I said, if you tell her, you're going to kill her. So no one wanted that on their head, right? So everyone kept the secret. Okay. And I talked to her on the phone just like I was, in Atlanta. But listen, she got well.
Okay.
Not only did she recover from everything, she got a Facebook account. I didn't see that coming. So I had to fess up and let her know. My last trip when I went to Detroit, I had to tell her, Mom, I'm actually, I live in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah. But since the book, she did read the book.
Okay.
And she's good with it now, but she was salty for quite some time.
I
She's
bet.
mad at me. Yeah.
When women are talking about planning a sabbatical, sometimes I tell them, some people you just don't tell. Some people,
Some people
just don't
just,
just wait until you're gone. With some,
yeah,
for different reasons, right? Your
yeah,
mother's reasons were different than some people
yeah.
are just going to be like, that's ridiculous, and give you 10 different fears you didn't even have until they
Right.
talk to you.
That's so true.
but but for different reasons, yeah, it's yeah. So you guys, I know. So in the chat, everybody's saying I posted the link. Can you post the link? For some reason, it's a super long link, and it's too
Of
long for
what
me to
to
post.
what?
The sister's
The
letter.
the article?
I have it. So I have the link, but it just won't let me post it. I can't tell. It's
Oh.
long. It's like a trillion. So you're just gonna have to go to AARP to go to sister's letter.
Yeah. Give them directions
I'll
how to
have
get
to
there.
direct you on how to get there.
Yeah.
Sistersletter.com. And then you're going to have to look up retired or retired in Mexico. Okay.
Yep. And it'll pop up, I'm sure. Let them know that.
Yeah, this is as close as I can get you. The actual article link is gigantic, and everybody's already saying they're trying to post it in here. It's just not working. Oh,
Okay.
so we have somebody here who knows you, I guess, because she's saying
Whoa.
to ask Queen about Quincy. Quincy is your new love.
Well, they thought they was gonna get it. And listen, I did the first 3 months of the quarantine by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it coming like a lot of us in a sense, and it turned the north side upside down. I mean,
Yes.
it was mandatory. So for 3 months it was just me. Well, and I found I made it through, but what happened, it gave me an understanding that, I have time, space, and love for another soul, in my life, to have another soul in my life. So as things started to ease up, I said, I think I'm going to get me, I'm going to get a dog. I'm a dog mom, in a sense. But the first one I was going to get was too big. I kind of just wanted a, little small hiking buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across Quincy 3 weeks before I had this, this trip.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and got him, and he's with a wonderful, dear friend,
Yeah.
who's watching him. But I only combined with him for 20 days,
Yeah.
and now I'm going to be gone. I'm gone for 21.
Uh-huh.
But when I get back, that's my boy. That's Quincy.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
he's adorable.
But I heard from this puppy sitter today. He's doing well.
Good.
He's doing well.
Good. Yes.
She's gonna hate to give him back, but she's
Yeah.
giving him back.
Yeah.
That's my baby.
That's how I felt. I house sat for so your friendly neighborhood pet sitter will be out when things clear up. I'll be back, so you can schedule another trip if you want, and I'll take good care of them.
Okay.
I had a difficult time with Nana's two dogs because they're so cute, and I love taking their pictures. I was like, oh, bye, friends. They didn't care that I was leaving.
Yeah,
I was
that's
heartbroken.
Sophie and Kojo. Yeah,
I was heartbroken. So Kath wants to know, Lake Chapala Society, Kathy. Do they have this is what she's asking. Does Lake Chapala Society have a Facebook group? Do you know if they have like a Facebook? They probably have a page.
They have
but
a
not
Facebook page, but not so much a group because they're big.
Yeah.
They hold classes there. They do trips. They have a library. They have a full-on campus.
Yes.
They have all kinds of class. Before pre-COVID, that Lake Chapala Society campus was popping. Always classes and it's for not only expats but Mexicans as well.
Locals, and
Absolutely.
they do big stuff, and they also do small stuff like, hey, we're going to Sam's Club, because Sam's Club is it Sam's or the other one?
Costco.
Costco. We're going to Costco.
Yeah.
It's in Guadalajara. We're taking a trip.
Yes.
These are the dates we're going.
Trip, man. Yeah.
So they take So
it's a Facebook, definitely a Facebook page, Lake Chapala Society.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's the COVID situation like right now? Or before you left?
Well, before I left, it was pretty much as it is across, I guess, the border. I mean, cases lakeside were not staggering.
Okay.
There were cases, but it hadn't run through the north side. And it's a good reason that they were very protective over the North Shores, because it's a lot of retirees and expats who economically help support that whole North Shore. So they were very protective of us. It was like, it was only two ways in and
Yeah.
two ways that they had those blocked, and they weren't letting, Guadalajara, who likes to come in and party on the weekends, they wasn't letting Guadalajara in. I mean, it was, they didn't have Easter, they didn't have Mother's Day,
Oh,
that
yeah.
they shut down a lot and kept pockets. There are numbers,
Uh-huh.
but it's not bad.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
when you need to go somewhere, you wear a mask,
Let's lose some
keep
common
yourself
sense. Absolutely.
distanced. Okay. But
Yeah.
but not like everything is closed. You
No,
don't have a
no,
problem getting
no.
groceries and whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And they have choices too. You can order your groceries, you can have them delivered, or you can go pick them up. It's be careful is basically the thing. Wear a mask, wash your hands, keep your distance, be careful.
All right, let's transition. Kat Kay wants to know about your Spanish. So in the book,
Oh,
Queen
good
was kind enough in her book
question.
to write
This
out she shared with us her journal entry where she was like, I'm gonna move, and here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna become fluent in Spanish, and then I'm gonna move to either Mexico or Costa Rica or Panama. She had a list,
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. Right,
and
right,
then
right.
Queen moved to Mexico, and what happened?
Well, here's the thing. Again, it's back to that expat community, those English speakers. They want the Mexicans, I find on that North Shore, they want to speak English.
Yeah,
And so they make it, you have to really push to become fluent or to speak it all the time, because as soon as they speak English, I fall back
that's
into
it.
my native tongue,
That's it.
So
Yeah.
I know a lot of words, thousands of words, but stringing those into a fluent conversation, is that hasn't happened. I know enough to get by. I can go into any grocery store, any restaurant. I got Google Translate.
Yes.
I'll pull up a picture. I mean, it's very easy. I can survive not being fluent in Spanish in the area that I live.
Yes.
However, say for instance, if you were to go to the municipal, say if you were living in Chapala, that they speak more Spanish there, and it would be better for you to know,
Yes.
Spanish and light. It all depends. Again, it depends on the area.
Yeah.
The area that I'm living in is conducive to about where my Spanish is, which can make you lazy too, because it's like, there's really no need, if I can get my need across,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, you get comfortable with it.
you get
'Cause I
comfortable.
was planning on practicing my Spanish
Just
too.
making it, yeah.
Instead, I
Yeah.
do try to order food in Spanish. I feel like at least I'm doing something.
Yeah, so I know a lot of words. I mean, but I'm always figured if I can get a Mexican boyfriend,
Yes.
then maybe, but then, that's a wrap too.
Wait,
That's
no,
not a,
don't skirt past that. So what's going on?
I'm just saying,
What's going on with dating?
what I've seen from my area. Remember, I'm in a retired area. It's a lot of females versus the males.
Yeah.
Lot of females. And it's the same way with Mexican men as well. They have a wife, a girlfriend, and a mistress. So yeah.
Yeah, so
I haven't
dating
come across that yet, though.
dating in a retirement community is not fun. This is a community full of
Exactly.
retirees. So dating is not fun, but you're not far from Guadalajara. So if you were wanting to take it seriously, Queen, you would have to be willing
I
to
totally agree with that.
date someone who's in Guadalajara.
They have Mexican Cupid and
Tinder.
all those different things. If you really want to take that seriously, which I'm not, I got Quincy now. I'm fine.
Yes. So dating is possible, but you
It
have to
is
be
possible.
willing to make some concessions, because
Yes.
this area is full of old people.
Yes.
It's
And
full of
let's
old
be
women.
honest, that's
Old
my
women.
area.
Yeah.
So yeah. Guadalajara would be for those who are still. That's why Joan left. She's like,
Don't tell Joan. Don't say that. That may or allegedly that's why Joan
yeah,
left.
right.
Good luck to you, Joan. If things work out for you, I will be right behind you at the beach. Let us know, Joan.
Yes.
Let us know how Dayton is out there, and we will come and follow you. All right. So okay. So another important question that's popped up a couple of times, thanks guys, is about healthcare. So you mentioned that you're actually getting better health. Well, no, you tell it. How's your healthcare in Mexico?
Excellent. I covered that in the book, and actually what was covered in the book is not what's happening now, because I kind of cover Seguro Popular,
yes,
and that was the public health care system. This is how I went down. I have a credit card. And on that card, I say that this is my healthcare card, because on that credit card is $500, which is 10,000 pesos.
yes.
So that's for incidentals when I'm getting my teeth cleaned, which is cheap. Well, when I'm having my yearly blood work done, for a checkup, it's cheap. And I use it for that. And then if something were to happen, I fell and broke an arm or leg or something like that, bam, here's my medical card. I do not have, I'm not covered by insurance in any way, shape, or form. I cannot afford private insurance for the most part. Now I want to talk about my finances after I finish with healthcare real quick. But I do not have healthcare, and it's almost like, whoa, because what if a catastrophe or something was to happen where blood is needed, and you need a hospital. And I know this sounds crazy, guys, and don't be mad, but when I say I'm across that bridge in a sense, and until things change financially for me, that's pretty much where I'm at. But it would have been twice as worse had I stayed in the States, because just getting a teeth cleaning or getting a checkup, that was rent, in a sense. Whereas here, what I've done so far, I've had my teeth cleaned, and I've had it, I've had my yearly checkup, that I just paid out of pocket. Nothing else has really happened. I had a real bad sinus deal going on. When I first got there, I was able to walk across the street and get prednisone, for $5. 20 pills of prednisone for $5, which of course knocked it out. So it's a lot of the over-the-counter things that they would make you, that would cost an arm and a leg in the States, doesn't cost that much here. So I'm treading, I'm taking good care of myself, I'm eating right, I'm exercising,
So you're paying out of pocket for regular maintenance. It's not called maintenance, but maintenance.
It kind of preventative medicine type thing. Yeah. And I really don't have an answer because I'm 57. So I don't qualify for the public. I'm not old enough for and then even though I would qualify for Medicare, Medicaid here, that's not what I can use there. Right. Medicaid and Medicare is not used in Mexico. So I'm kind of in this real murky area right now as it relates to healthcare. Honestly speaking, I am.
Do you know what age you need to be to get on the system in Mexico?
60.
Okay.
60. Yeah, and I'm 57.
Okay, because I do know that they have they retirees from the U.S. do go down to Mexico and buy into that healthcare system.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have to be 60.
That, or they get private. And then even their private network is not as expensive as it is in the States, but it's still too expensive for me because, guys, my pension is $1,100 a month. That's what I get a month. In the States, that was my rent. So imagine. So I get $1,100 a month. That great condo that I have, that 1 bed, 1 bath, it's $500 a month. And so that leaves me with what? 6? I live on $600 a month comfortably. And that's because my electric bill is every other month and it's $12. My gas is, I pay that once a month. And what is that? 10? My cell phone bill is $15 a month. My internet is $20 a month. And food is cheap and good. And a lot of times straight from farm to table.
Yes.
So with a good budget, and managing your money, and, every now and then my son helps me out too. I'll be honest, you can live comfortably.
Yes.
You can live comfortably. I've cut out a lot of unnecessaries. I don't have the cable anymore, because there's Netflix and Hulu and the Fire Stick, right? So you got your Fire Stick. With internet being $20, $20 a month, that 600 can and does stretch.
It stretches.
Now, do it get a little tight? Right before? Is there more month than money? Sometimes. Sometimes. But it's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier. Nothing that would make me say, "Oh, I need a job."
It's not less. It's not less.
I need to do something to make,
Yeah.
And
you're not back where you were. Like, okay, now I got to go now I got to go drive for Uber and do Postmates.
Exactly.
It's not at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was a good question about internet speed. Thank you for asking. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling and I can't find it because some of us are going to need to be working
remote. Absolutely, absolutely. Now that the internet where I'm at, like I said, I'm in San Antonio. It's good.
It's good.
And I'll just leave it at good. It's not high speed fiber optics, but I can get on, I can stay on, I'm not kicked off. Whenever there's an issue with my internet, it's an issue with the complex. The Telmex, something's going on with Telmex, and it'll be down, for a couple of hours, but that's honestly rare.
Yeah.
Now, have I heard about instances my internet's not working? It's been down for it all depends on the area. That's, again, something you really need to research to know about that area. And that's something that I researched. And and I was told that it was good. I'm in Chula Vista. Yes. And I was told that it was good.
Yeah.
I think Chula Vista's is better than Ribera's, which is, a little bit over because I hear a lot of internet down over there. Yeah. So it depends on the area,
yes,
and it depends on your research.
Queen is like I said, Queen is in town. I house sat out of town. So I test internet speed. Like I go do the speed test, and I test it every place I stay. Where your area was really good. You said it was good, but I
say it's good.
Yeah, from what I remember, I would put it at the very good level. Like fast. When I was in New Orleans, I just house sat in New Orleans, and their internet speed was terrible. We're talking 5 megabytes per second or something like that. Wow. Trying to download a video was awful, So it was better than New Orleans.
All right, then, see.
I was in Guadalajara proper. They have fast internet. Guadalajara, the city, Queen is less than 30 minutes from Guadalajara. Guadalajara, the city, amazing internet. And then I house sat in San Nicolas. Out in the country, but it's still lakeside, but out in the country, horribly slow, right? So it varies.
Did you house sit for Fotanine?
No, I almost didn't know, but I house sat on her street, like down the street from Fotanine.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's the one who's watching Quincy. And she now lives in San Antonio down the street from me.
Oh, good. Yeah, she used to live, where she used to live, I house that right down the street from there. They're regulars, but the internet is painfully slow. Like,
wow, see?
If I was a worker, I would have to find another option. Like,
so to answer that question, it depends.
And then we've got Camille in the chat. Camille or Camilla, I'm sorry.
Camille.
She lives in Jalisco. She lives in the same state as Queen, I believe, right? Camilla, let us know where you live and how's your internet, if you don't mind. She's in I can't remember. I know
she's like that Del, because she was moving, if that's the Camille I'm thinking.
Know. Okay. The one with the twins. I'm telling all her business.
Gomez,
yes. Yeah, she's I don't remember, but she's in Jalisco, but not near Lake Chapala.
Last we spoke, her and her husband and the kids were moving to Playa del Carmen.
Oh,
Yeah.
fancy. Okay. Okay. Beach time. Yes, that's become very popular. Infinity 8, you're welcome. I think so. I guess you're the one who asked. She said thanks because I live in New Orleans. LOL. Yeah, so my experience is that in that area that internet is faster than the internet that you're experiencing in New Orleans. It was I did not enjoy that internet in New Orleans.
Uh,
Camille was living in Zapotlanejo,
ah.
and our internet was great.
Oh, okay.
Great to hear it, Zapotlanejo. But that's in Jalisco, right, Camille? I think so. And they're currently in Playa del Carmen. Okay.
Sit.
All
Todd.
right. We're moving to the beach. I hope you love it. I hope you love it. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you about it. Good question, Kathy. Are the apartments furnished? We're talking about $500 a month. What does that
Good
mean?
question. And I'm gonna tell you, my apartment was furnished, completely furnished. They have apartment. I would say, oh, ooh, maybe 80% of the apartments are furnished.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have those that are not furnished. But yeah, mine was furnished, complete dishes, linen, all of that. But I brought my own linen too. Those are, certain things you just kind of bring for yourself. So yeah, but everything was furnished.
Yeah, I see that, a lot of the majority of the stuff that I saw listed when I was poking around down there was furnished.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to know, we're talking about Queen living in town for $500 a month. But if
Yes.
you are okay with being out of town, you can
Even
get
cheaper.
much closer to 350.
Yep.
I've house sat for a family that they had moved. Didn't house sit in this house, but they had moved. And they were paying, I think, $320 for 2 or 3 bedrooms. So yes. So Kathy, can you rent small houses or cottages? Yes. So pretty like
Oh, casitas. They call them
casitas.
casitas.
Hmm.
And those casitas are beautiful, and what a
Yes.
find.
Yes.
You can find you a great casita, and there's so many around.
Yes.
Yeah, find yourself a great casita, definitely.
Yes. I would imagine that they're in high demand though. I would bet. I mean, not that it's impossible, but like
Right, true.
they're probably in high demand. Yeah, because I mean that's you get everything in a tight little package, and
Oh, yeah.
yes, but yes, there are. One of the families that I house sat for was they let me stay in the casita after I finished house sitting. I was like, I don't ever want to leave. I want to live here.
Yeah, but I tell you, it's worth considering. And it's worth just having fun hypothetically, saying, okay, I'm gonna look at this area and I'm gonna look at rentals in that area. Have some fun, just poking around. I like that word. I was poking around down there. I was looking on this site, just kind of checking out the what the prices are, and when you get on those threads, just kind of follow what people are saying, because that's where I got a lot of my information from, where I knew where to go, what to stay away from, what was closer, in town, and follow those threads and ask questions.
And did you sign a proper lease? We talked
I
about this
did.
the other week that it's not like a credit check system. You basically
Oh,
give the money and it's
no,
your
it's a
apartment.
lot of it. Actually, I was there almost a year before I even got a lease. I mean, I told her, I was like, hey, I'm living here. And she's like, okay, and that was that. But I wanted to get a bank account in Mexico, and you need a lease in order to get a bank account. And then I said, hey, I need a lease. They're like, okay. And that was way over a year ago. I haven't looked at that lease yet, and they're not even talking about renewing. We just, it's good. I landed well. I really landed well.
Did you have to pay a deposit before you? Kathy's asking a lot of questions. Kathy will be there in approximately 3 weeks. I have a feeling. Did you have to pay a deposit to her, or did you pay the first month's rent?
I paid a deposit, so she would hold it for me because I wanted it. I was like, here, let me send you. That's my place. Here's the money. Hold it for me.
Okay.
And it was something like 6 weeks before I had even, maybe even close to 2 months before I had moved down there. But yeah, I definitely gave her a deposit to hold it.
Great.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Thank you for asking these amazing questions, friends. If you have any other questions that I have not asked, get them in now because we are on a roll. So we've talked about dating. We've talked about money. We talked about the weather. I just want to make sure we cover all the things because I don't want like I tell people all the time on here. Don't leave this live stream with the same questions you came here with. That's not the
Right.
point, right?
You're
So,
right.
okay,
Good point.
here we go. Here's another good question. Something we didn't talk about: the water quality. What about the water
Ah.
in your town?
Now, see, again, I have to say, I landed well.
Mm-hmm.
That side of the street that I'm on, that's Chula Vista.
Uh-huh.
That frack right there, and they have their own water um,
Oh,
filtration system. So from where I live, I'm able to drink water right out of the tap, and I
great.
and I do because they have their own water filtration system. Um, Again, it's the area. That's one of those questions you know if that's important to you.
Uh-huh.
I kind of lucked up. That was something I never even researched or asked about. I was fit ready to use bottled water
Mm-hmm.
and have water delivered, that kind of thing. And then found out, oh, this is Chula Vista. We are on our own water filtration system, and
Ah,
and I was like, oh, good for me. Didn't know that. So it depends on the area.
okay.
People who own homes, they do get their own water filtration systems
Mhm.
in their home. I think the water's kind of hard. You
Yeah,
know, yeah,
yeah.
I think it's hard. Um,
But they
I think,
deliver. So
oh, they
even if
deliver
you can't
bottled
drink your
water.
even if you can't drink your tap water, the man rides down the street and he announces agua. Agua. everybody
Absolutely. Or
everybody
then they
comes
have like those water stores. You can go and sign up and have your water delivered
and
and
have
what
it.
have you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
water is not so even if you can't drink the water, it's not a it doesn't become a problem. Except maybe like if you go to like a small restaurant where they're not filtering the water and you drink, the ice. The only
Yeah.
time
So since I've been there and I've lived there, like I said, 2.5 years, I've never been sick from food.
Mhm.
I've never been sick from water. I I haven't been sick,
The only
really.
time I got sick, I'm pretty sure it was salsa. I was in the town of Tequila in Jalisco.
Oh,
So Jalisco is Mexico. That's the motto for the state of Jalisco. Jalisco es Mexico, because all the stuff that you think of when you think of Mexico originated in the state of Jalisco.
wow. Now
Tequila.
you just told me something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Tequila is from Jalisco.
Ah,
Mariachi music is from Jalisco. So it's a wonderful state to travel around and do some
yeah.
tourist
And
stuff
we have a
in.
great governor too. I
Do
think the
you?
governor, he was really on it when COVID hit. He was putting measures in place that, had us saying, yeah, go governor. He was
Good.
I personally thought that the governor did a good job.
That's
You
good.
talk to Mexicans, they have their own
Yeah.
opinions about it, but
Yeah. That's
from an outside looking in, I thought he did a good job
that's
and still
important
doing a
because
good job.
that impacts you and you're not allowed to vote, but it impacts you.
Right.
So that's good. Yeah. So I went to the town of Tequila and I wanted to go on a tequila tour. The night that
Ah,
I got there, I ate at a restaurant and that food looked so good and it tasted so good. But I'm pretty sure the salsa I'm pretty sure because when the food that's not cooked is the stuff that'll get you, right?
ah,
Because once they cook it, whatever's in it is dead.
yeah,
But it's
right.
them vegetables. It's them
Mm,
vegetables that will get
yeah,
you. And I'm pretty sure
yeah.
that salsa tore me up. I was in town for 4 days. I was in the bathroom for 4 days. I didn't get to take a tequila tour. That's
Really?
the only time I didn't get to take a tour of tequila. I was there to tour tequila factories. I didn't get to do that. I was just on the toilet. But it was
Wow.
vegetables. It wasn't I'm pretty sure it wasn't the water because I drank beer. I have pictures of that night. I was just before we talked, I was scrolling through my pictures of the state of Jalisco, and
Oh,
I have
wow.
pictures of that night, and I had my little chicken enchiladas, and But I'm
Mm,
sure it was just that fresh salsa. Once I put that on there, I doomed myself.
wow.
But the water, no big deal. You get
Yeah.
water delivered, or you buy it from the grocery store. Jason just
Sure.
said that big bottle is $1. I don't remember. I know it's huge, and you get it from the grocery store, and you're like, ugh, how am I gonna get this home? But he said he pays about $1 for it. I don't remember
Mm.
what it's two. I don't know how many gallons. It's not 2 gallons. It's lots of gallons, but it's
Yeah.
big. Adelia said that's why she doesn't touch vegetables. Adelia's picky girl travels the world. She is a very picky eater, and she's that's why I
Oh,
don't touch
picky girl
vegetables.
travel. Okay, gotcha.
That's why I don't touch vegetables. Yeah, okay, friends. Any other questions, Queen? What do you feel like we haven't covered? So here's what we haven't covered, I'll tell you. We haven't covered your new book. So you wrote Considerations to help people who are moving abroad.
Right, right.
And before I left, you were launching a new book.
Yes. Not only a new book, but a brand. I tell you, so what's so magical about it, man? I have been there 2.5 years. I've written 3 books and launched a brand, within those 2.5 years. And this is what it is. Remember when I said, I started meditating and yoga and hiking, and from that there was this wonderful awakening from the inside. I turned totally inward, and from there learned my path for the next 20 years. And that's that of a light worker and a way shower and a frequency holder, So it's light that I hold and I anchor and I write about. So I'm a blogger now. And I want to invite everyone. I have a website. It's called Considerations of the Soul, not just Considerations, a guide for moving abroad. That was the catalyst. Who knew that from that would come Considerations of the Soul? And from that, I have 2 blogs. One comes out once a month. It's called Keeping Tabs in Mexico. That blog is kind of like a continuation of the first book. So once a month, I'm talking about what I'm doing, what's going on. There's one in there about hiking, one about the butterfly trip I took to Morelia, one about catching the bus, how, the bus system, one about an adventure I took lakeside, one about the energy of lakeside that I've talked about. So if they were to go to my website, www.considerationsofthesoul.com, they would see where my path is as a writer and a blogger now. This book was the catalyst.
Yes.
But that was the catalyst to where I'm going now. Considerations of the Soul presents Traveling Home Together. That's my new book. Okay. And there is just what I'm getting from inside, what I'm learning about light, love, and energy from inside. I'm putting it into a book, and I'm sharing that as well. Having a bunch of fun. And the other blog that I have goes along with this book called Flowing and Growing. But all of that's on my three books, both blogs, and even audios to the blogs I write from that book, is all on considerationsofthesoul.com.
Okay. I link to that in the chat, and I will link to it in the description. Considerationsofthesoul.com. Yes.
So that's what I'm doing from, when I head back on next Tuesday, I'll pick up Quincy from Fultoning. Get back, and I'm hiking, and I'm writing, and I'm sharing, and I'm living, and I'm loving, and I'm living my best life.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, that's what I always say.
Unapologetically living my best life.
I always tell people I found a community of Black women living their best lives in Mexico. I say that all the time. I've said that a million times. Yeah, but it's true.
It's true.
It's true.
And I'm unapologetically doing that now. Yes. I'm not going to apologize for y'all better come on over and see and see this world.
That's right. That's right.
It's bigger than the States.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I love the title. I love the idea. You told me about traveling home together. So I love the idea of Dr. Atema is a podcaster that I listen to. She calls it homecoming, but the same, becoming more of yourself. Yeah. You don't know what is going to present itself. You don't know who you are until you have time to explore that. And you sure did, Queen. You sure did.
Yeah. So and I'm compelled to give that back out. I'm compelled to say, hey, look what I found. Look what I know. And that's why I like it. Considerations. I'm not trying to put anything on anybody. Just consider it.
Just
You know,
consider.
just consider. You know?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
not.
Well, everybody here is all in. They're all in. So
Okay.
yeah, so we don't have to. You don't have to put the or not on it. They're already considering it. Somebody's is begging Kathy, so Kathy's asking all the specific apartment questions, and somebody Kay I think is asking her to make sure Kathy you get at least 2 bedrooms so we can come down too. So
That is
before
funny.
before the summer's over, you may have a new person to add to the Sisters Lake Chapala Facebook group.
All right. All right.
All
Well,
right.
we'll be there,
Yes.
arms open. You
Absolutely.
know,
Yes.
being cautious and careful and safe and doing all of those things that keep us safe, but
Yes.
not oppressed
That's
or
right.
depressed
That's right.
or compressed. We are, for
So
the most part, stress free.
this is a good time to talk about the thing that people ask me about that I don't know how to answer about Mexico. Is it safe? So this particular area, like, is there crime? Normally, when people ask this question, I'm like, it's safer than where you are. Just go,
I
right? Like,
promise you that. That I promise. Wherever you are, it's my area. I can't speak for Guadalajara or Tequila or those, but in that North Shore where I am, do people get their house broken into from time to time? Yeah. Are there murders and rapes? No. No. No, that's not going to headline the North Shore. I
mm-hmm.
reporter,
Yeah.
the papers, that's not going to headline it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the traffic. We're going to talk about, construction. We're going to talk about, but we're not talking about murders and rapes and carjackings and muggings and things of that nature. No, absolutely not. So I like that. I think I'll do. Is it safe? It's safer than where you are. I guarantee you that.
I always
That's for
ask
sure.
people. Last week, I think it was just last week. I had someone ask that in the chat, and I was like, "Where do you live?" And she was like, "St. Louis." I'm like, "Girl, bye."
See? Yeah.
Where- yes, is it safer than St. Louis? Yes, it is. Yes, it
Yes,
is.
yes, yes.
But
Where you from?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, but there are some downsides. So, what do you think is a downside of where you live in particular, not or of just being an expat in general?
God, that's a good question. What is the downside? Uh, hmm.
Maybe. So, I think a downside of that particular
Downside
area.
or I'm trying a downside, something that others say maybe something I would change if I could, or because
Well, let me tell you what I think it is. I
okay,
think
go ahead.
for that particular area, I think the downside is that it's very American and Canadian. If you're looking for Mexico, you have to get out of town, out of that area.
Yep.
So the conveniences are great. Oh, and Joan just gave us a new one. Joan says lack of hair care products. So we got 2 downsides.
Joan, she know it.
She
We do struggle with that. We do, yes, we do struggle with it.
Joan is the plug. Joan still works in the U.S. and before COVID, she was still flying back and forth and bringing
Yeah,
hair care products with her. But I think that that particular area is not going to feel like Mexico. In some ways, it is because there's still.
In some ways, it is absolutely. When you go down on the Malacan and Ajijic is such a busy, thriving, community, but you're going to see a lot of expats. It's not Mexico. It's not. I mean, in that respect.
But I'm putting a picture up now that you can't see. Sorry, but they still ride horses.
I'm wondering that kind of stumped me. If any questions stumped me.
But they still.
I guess it would be. You know what? I'm gonna have to concur with you. That would be the only thing. Is that I would like to see more of my community. I would like to see a more diverse community.
Yeah.
But.
And the reason that I'm saying that is because some of the Americans bring their American stuff, They're still, so you're going to find, you're as a Black woman,
Yeah.
is leaving the U.S. on purpose
Mm-hmm.
to leave that ideology that white is superior
Right.
behind. I want to leave
Right.
that behind. I'm going to Mexico, and every day you, because of this area, because this area is 50% Americans and Canadians, every day you're confronted still with some form
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of that same.
Because they're here's the thing, they're still white,
Mm-hmm.
they're still affluent,
Uh-huh.
and they're still entitled.
Uh-huh.
And and you will see, they live behind their gated
That's
communities,
right.
a lot of them,
That's right.
you know and then when they do come out, they come out ready to be entitled to, you know
Mm-hmm.
how they like things. And here's the Mexicans, they cater,
Yeah.
because that's, you
Income.
know yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
income, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can avoid that by getting further out, right? So
Oh,
the
absolutely.
convenience of being in town does come with that drawback, but you can just get out of town. Just be further out of town. If you're the closer you are to that Walmart, the more you're going to have to deal with that. But just get away from the Walmart. Get to, when you if you live in
Yeah.
San Nicolas, no problems, right?
Yeah.
And Jason Blanchard says so
Oh,
many
and you know what?
festivals.
And across the lake too. That south
Ah,
side of the lake, that's Mexico now.
okay.
That's very undeveloped in that respect, you
Okay.
know?
I never got there. Okay.
Yeah, the south side of the lake. I have, and here's another story, and and that's in the book as well. My neighbors, who were my neighbors in Atlanta
Uh-huh.
before I moved out,
Uh-huh.
actually have a home. They had a home built on the south side of the lake. And I had
Oh.
told them, I said, guys, I lived next door to them for 4 years. I said, I'm moving to Mexico. And it never dawned on me. I knew they lived in, they were from Mexico, and they always go back every year. They always bring me something back. It never dawned on me to ask where, even when I started researching. And when I finally chose Lake Chapala, I say, guys, I'm moving to Mexico. They said, oh, really, where? I said, Lake Chapala. Lake Chapala? And it went to this whole thing. Goes, hey, we from Lake
Wow.
Chapala. Get
Wow.
out of here. So here's the kicker with that. Last year was the matriarch's 50th birthday,
Okay.
and everybody was in town for her birthday on the south side of the lake. They sent for me,
Oh.
and I spent the night with them over on the south side of the lake as we celebrated her birthday. And that's the very first blog I wrote in Keeping Tabs in Mexico, is entitled Neighbors Here and There.
Oh.
And I talk about that Mexican family.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Isn't
That's
it something?
beautiful. Oh, it's like
I, right?
you were meant to be there. You were
I'm
meant to be there.
supposed to be here.
Oh. Nanette said, yes, diversity depends on where you are,
Mhm.
lakeside. Where,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. So you can get further away from
I
the
like what you said. The further away you from that Walmart, yeah,
yeah.
but the municipal Chapala is more Mexico than, like the closer you get. Yeah.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. But the conveniences are that market is right there. That was it the Wednesday market is oh my gosh, I
Yes.
love that Wednesday market. I
I
miss it.
love the Wednesday market.
I miss it so much. And Jason said that another drawback is the festivals because of the noise. So this is an area. So I went to a couple other parts of Mexico. This is an area where they believe in fireworks.
Honey.
You are going to have fire,
Yes.
and it's always the festival of the Virgin of something,
Yeah. Or the
the
saint.
saints of
There's saint
some
this, the
saint.
virgin that, or
And so
yeah.
there will be fireworks from 5 a.m. to midnight
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that's really calmed that down in any way, shape, or form was COVID. It's calmed it
Oh,
down. It's
okay.
not as like it used to be, not as loud as it used to be. Remember, they would have fairs and rides and everything right smack dab on the Malacan, or right there in Ajijic. And none of that's going on right now. So
Yeah. Okay.
we
Yeah.
lucked out in that
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get you and Quincy can chill because dogs don't like those fireworks. Well, some dogs don't care.
Exactly.
Some dogs don't like those
I can't
fireworks.
wait till you meet them.
Me neither.
Nana's, Sophie, and Kojo. Wait till you meet Quincy.
Have they had a dog play date yet?
Little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, Quincy's been around him because Nana picked me up and matter of fact, she took me to go get him.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, she
Okay.
took me to go get him.
Okay. Kay, good question. How easy is it to get to that area from the States? It's very easy, Kay. This area is, Queen said 30 minutes, but it's not really 30 minutes from the Guadalajara International Airport. And because there are so many Americans and Canadians, lots of direct, well, before COVID, lots of direct flights.
I was gonna say before COVID.
I don't know. I haven't looked at flights lately. DL just said that they were searching for flights while we were talking. I haven't looked at flights lately, but I know that before, in the before times,
in the before time, I love that.
it was very easy to get to like so many major cities in the U.S. direct from Guadalajara, and very inexpensive. Interjet, a pro tip is Interjet Airlines is my favorite airline for flying to Mexico. Have you ever flown Interjet?
See, Guadalajara is the capital of Jalisco and the second largest city.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy
in
to
the
get.
country, I believe, because Mexico City is the first. Is the first largest. Yeah.
So it's very easy. You land in Guadalajara Airport, you take an Uber. I want to say an Uber was like 400 pesos. Does that sound right?
Exactly, like 420. Last time I left out, and when I caught a taxi in, it was 420 pesos.
So we're talking 20-something dollars.
Exactly.
One way to get down there. Yeah, very easy. It's very easy. There are people who work. So a lot of pilots or people who work like where they bid for shifts and they only have to basically work 1 week out of the month. A lot they live in Mexico, in and around Guadalajara, and then fly back. I house sat for a pilot who lived in Mexico.
Look at that.
And he just flew back home to Canada when it was time for him to work his shift. So
how about that?
It's very convenient. This is one of the things that people love about it. San Miguel de Allende is another town that's popular with American expats, but it's not quite as convenient for coming, or retirees, but it's not quite as convenient for coming back and forth. The airport's only, I don't know, maybe from there, the airport is maybe
25.
Yeah, not far, but not as many direct flights, because this is Leon. I think it's Baguio or something airport. And so it's not like flying in and out of Guadalajara. So this is one of the reasons that people love that area. It's so easy to get anywhere in the U.S. direct flight. Yeah. It's wonderful.
I know. It's a great place to land. I thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to talk about it, because that's what I love to talk about it. You know.
Yes.
I love to to get that light out there, that energy out there, and because when that happens, that just ripples.
Yes, it does.
Out.
Yes, it does. That's the perfect way to say it. It ripples. You're exactly right.
And consider, I planned and prepared my move for a year, a whole year. I planned and prepared, so people, they have things, their lifestyles, they may have to consider kids and jobs and husbands and things of that nature. But it can still be done with them because they're doing it.
Yes.
People are doing it.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So Queen, I've linked a couple of times to Queen's book, Considerations of the Soul. No,
yes.
Considerations, a guide for moving abroad. So
the brand is considerationsofthesoul.com, which they can also find the book on as well. Just click on the publications tab and all three of the books will be there. But
and then on Instagram, you are Considerations 2020.
Correct. Oh, and on Facebook, I'm Considerations of the Soul. That's my Facebook page.
All right. We got you. All right. So I'll put all of these links. I just put the Instagram link wrong, but I'll fix it. So I'll put all of these links in the description. If you are watching the replay, and if you're here now, they're in the chat for you right now.
Wonderful.
So make sure that you go follow Queen on, I typed her Instagram wrong. It's Considerations 2020. You'll find her.
Right.
So follow her now so that you don't lose track of her. So that when you get to Mexico,
follow me.
When you get to Mexico, you can have dinner with her.
Look me up.
All right. This has been great. I'm so glad to finally talk to you.
This has been wonderful. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. And you guys, thank you for being patient and for chiming in and for asking your questions. Don't forget that So if you get my email, I sent an email out about taking the survey. I would really appreciate it if you would take the survey for a huge project that Rashida and I are working on.
Oh,
And
wow.
this Saturday coming up, I'm not going to go live. I'll post a video on Saturday, but I'm not going to go live, so I won't be going live until next week sometime. Okay, but thank you all for joining us and for participating and for being so lively in the chat. We appreciate you so much.
Hey, wait a minute, and before we all leave, as I do shows and there's meet and greets, there's a way that I like to greet and also how I like to leave.
Yes.
What I'm going to say is one light, and what you guys respond to me with is one love.
One love. Okay.
Okay?
Do it.
So guys, it's been wonderful. Thank you for listening, and continue to consider, and one light.
One love, Queen.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.